They reloaded, but was it loaded? And if it wasn't, why not? I thought you said times were hard. I thought you said things were difficult. So why didn't you hit the streets? And our times are not as hard as you said. Things are not as difficult. You are actually more comfortable than you let us believe. Or is there some other reason why you didn't go? What was it? Were you afraid of security concerns? Did you not have transport to go? Like, what was it? What's the reason why you didn't go? Today, we're going to have a conversation about it. We'll ask you to tell us whether you hit the streets or not. And if you didn't, we'd love to know why. That's all to come. First, though, Roverman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM and the National Theatre, presents an exciting, hilarious, and original Able White play. Get the title, Husband Material, 7 Yards. It's at the National Theatre on the 26th and 27th of November, and again on the 3rd and 4th of December at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each night. Tickets for Husband Material 7 Yards are 100 Ghana cedis, and you can get them by dialing star 365 star 535 hash on all networks, and then you just follow the prompts for your tickets. Or you can buy a ticket at the front desk of Joy, Shell shops at Airport, East Legon, Tema Community 11 and Dansoman, Total shops at Bachona and Hachu, as well as Frankie's in Osu. Corporate tickets are at special prices are also available. Why don't you go to Roman Productions pages on Facebook and Instagram, or call them on 050-554-6010, or you can try 6030 at the end of that. And of course, sponsors are Gino Tomato Mix, GCB Bank PLC, and Ebony Condoms from Total Family Health Organization. Buy your tickets for Husband Material 7 Yards now. Roverman Productions, be the difference.
And a nourished new season is here. Malta Guinness invites you to watch and support the goodness in women's football with the Malta Guinness Women's Premier League. Follow every pass, tackle and goal as our ladies add some style to fuel your passion for football. Follow the Malta Guinness Women's Premier League on our social channels, hashtag Malta Guinness WPL, and watch the matches live on Max TV weekly.
Well, dear salaried worker, the season just got better with Access Bank triple salary promo. Switch your salary account to Access Bank's Empower Salary account today and automatically enjoy free interest on payday loan, pick now, pay later loans, fly now, pay later loans, and other personal loans. You also stand a chance of winning 3 times your monthly salary, school fees scholarship, DSTV plus free subscription, cashback rewards, free insurance cover, and much more. Just switch your salary account today to enjoy this and more. This promo runs from now to the 30th of April 2023 and is in partnership with NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any of our 53 branches across Ghana or our website, that's ghana.accessbankplc.com to get started. For more information, call us on toll-free 0800 00 4400 to the Access Bank, more than banking. Okay, so let's get into the conversation now. Before we get into all of it, let's hear the demonstrators from the Ku Me Preko Reloaded demonstration.
I would say honestly that it has been a howling success. This is just a precursor to a relentless, sustained demonstrations lineup in the coming days and weeks. I think you should learn something from this demonstration and resign.
The issue that we are facing is a rotten system. What we are saying is we want a new constitution in which the people of Ghana are represented. And not only do we want a new constitution, we want a new Ghana. We want the people, every single person here should be able to be represented properly in governance.
So since the campaign poverty is violent. Oh here, they are very violent. Now baby or do mind or for say I'm violent. Into What
President Akufo-Addo wanted to do was to set a legacy whereby a father became a president and a son became a president. He's achieved that, so why not just leave?
Either he resigns or he gets removed. And removing Akufo-Addo today or tomorrow is not against the constitution that we are having today. He has failed this country.
But I joined this demonstration primarily because the level of economic hardship in this country has escalated to a monumental proportion that drastic action ought to be taken.
All right then. So listen, let's talk about this. They called it Ku Me Preko Reloaded. Now, to give it context, this is a demonstration that was named after the 1995 Ku Me Preko demonstrations. Those protests were in opposition to the VAT initiative introduced under the Rawlings regime. It was led by Nana Akufo-Addo, Charles Rekumbrobe, Kwesi Pratt Jr., Akoto Ampao, Napoleon Abdullahi wrote a book about it. So there were several personalities at the forefront of that particular demonstration. It was estimated that 100,000 people participated in Ku Me Preko. And it was billed as peaceful, but there was some violence when there were some shots fired into the crowd. On Saturday, Al Jazeera estimated 1,000 attendees at Ku Me Preko Reloaded here in Accra. That's Al Jazeera's estimate. So the question is, where was everybody? Martin Kpebu joins us. He is one of those who convened the demonstration on Saturday. Mr. Kpebu, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Kojo. Good morning.
Now, I know you had high expectations. You printed T-shirts, you sent out invitations. There were information trucks going around in communities, inviting people to join the demonstration. Al Jazeera thinks about 1,000 people turned up. Do you call that, would you say that hit your target?
It didn't at all, Kojo. It didn't. I thought at least maybe 100,000. Yeah, because the message had been well received. If I open my phone now, you see so many persons sending me messages. Oh, yes, that's the right thing. We will come. We will show up. We will turn up. Then on the day, they didn't. So it turns to the Ghanaians. But it's all right. At least the statement is been made. And if not for anything at all now, a lot of Ghanaians, millions have understood that the president came to office to enrich himself at the expense of the country. And in the process, he led us into this deep crater of the debt crisis. Each time we borrowed, data banks made money. And that's the president's family making money. It's such a shame. It's open corruption, open thievery. So the president now has his legacy in front of him. That he came to superintend over thievery to make his family well off, whilst the nation was plunged into debt in the process.
So what do you think accounts for the huge difference in numbers between the original Ku Me Preko and the reloaded version?
Well, number one, because of the cost of living crisis that the president has substantially contributed in creating. For now, leave out Russia, Ukraine, and the COVID, because those are not the real reasons. Those are a bit peripheral. The main reason is the reckless borrowing the president embarked upon in order to enrich his family. Good. So as a result of the cost of living crisis, prices have gone up, petrol, lorry fare, etc., right? So because of that, quite a number of the people are saying they don't even have lorry fare to come. You see? So people were now asking that, pay for our lorry fare, right? Yeah, so I could pay for some. I couldn't pay for the hundreds and almost, quite a number. They were all sending messages that, please bring buses. Kojo, we're using our savings. So there's a limit to what you can do. But we all know within our heart that millions, even top people within the MPP, are very happy about that. People have sent me messages. They are extremely happy that we came out to make the statement that, President Akufo-Addo came and sat on this throne to make his family rich through data bank, such open thievery. Now it's been well established, well established. Akufo-Addo can never run away from it. So people have seen his true character. That he was a man who for over 40 years was planning to come to office to make his family rich. Oh no, he will never recover from it. We've seen him for who he is.
Martin, so we know that the original Ku Me Preko was organized in other regions. Yes, you've organized it in Accra. You're not happy with the turnout. Are you planning to take it to other parts of the country?
Yes, Winston. So we want to we are still debriefing It's quite a process. We'll have other meetings to analyze. But even before we were done with this one, we had already received invitations from people in Kumasi and Takoradi to come, and then also Tamale. So we are looking at it. We need funding. You see, Winston, one thing we have to mention that the rich in our society, please, they have to come out and fund some of these things. It's for all of us. For all of us. Of course, I know some are making their money from government contracts, so they don't want to. But they should remember that tomorrow, this government will not always be in office. So it's better you strengthen civil society. You get a very stronger society. Then we are all safe. But if you allow one side to stay, I mean, where have you ever heard it, Winston? That a president is in office, and each time we borrow, the president's family gets richer. Come on. This is too brazen. This is too obscene. Is that a Kufuado? That we borrow, and Deka Bank gets richer, Black Star Brokerage gets richer, and Ghanaians are secret. I mean, come on. What is this? What could be worse corruption and thievery than this?
Let me ask you, do you feel that the average Ghanaian did not match your passion on Saturday, to stand up for these issues?
No, Kojo, the average one feels it. But like I said, some of them said we should bring buses to bus them. And Kojo, we didn't get enough funding. Some people were bringing 5 cities, 10 cities. We thank all of them, right? But at the end, we largely funded this from our own package. You see it? So we're constrained by funding, the financial resources, right? And then number two, some too were scared. They thought maybe the numbers would be too huge for the police, and then in the process, maybe something could go wrong. But I see how the Ghana Police Service turned out and did a good job. We thank Dr. Gariba and Dr. Shraj, that's the regional commander and the director of operations, respectively, for the good job they've done. So now that they've seen that the demonstration has been extremely peaceful, I'm sure the Takoradi and Kumasi ones will be far better. That's if only Ekufuado and Bawumia are not gone by then.
Martin, regardless of the numbers, you wanted to send a certain message across. Do you think the president heard the message?
Yes, Mamavi, I do. Because, by law, it's even provided in the Securities and Intelligence Act that the national security, they monitor radio stations in order to feed the president with information on what's happening in the country. So he knows. And even last week, he panicked when he heard the demonstration was gaining traction among millions. So the Citizens Coalition was quickly invited, just about 24-hour notice, to come to a meeting with the president, right? That's the coalition I belong to. So that was a clear sign to me that the president had panicked. So he needed some optics. So he needed meetings with civil society leaders to be able to show that, he's consulting people here and there. But that's wrong. He has 6 years. Yeah, he's had 6 years. He couldn't change the structure of the economy as he had promised in 2016. Okay, he couldn't build so many import substitution industries as he had promised, saying that he was going to change the Judgesburg economy. So it's too late in the day. He should go. But rather, his big legacy was that here was a man who became president, and each time Ghana borrowed, his family became richer. What an accolade.
Martin, are you disappointed that the group that you belong to, the Citizen Coalition and Occupy Ghana, did not join you in Saturday's demonstration?
Well, for now, people have their own personal idiosyncrasies and philosophies. I would hesitate to condemn them. All is not lost. We have Kumasi, we have Takoradi, Tamale, and so on and so forth. So it's not yet late. So rather, let me be careful not to burn bridges, right? Yes, let me not burn my bridges. But maybe we still have a lot to do. The thing is that now it's gone out. Deutsche Welle, USA Today, Al Jazeera, and so on and so forth. So the international community has said that here is a country where the people, majority have sat down, they are quiet, and the president is just openly stealing. through making sure that his cousin's company benefits from every loan he takes. It's such a shame. I'm sure President Akufo-Addo will be taking steps to go.
Yeah,
because
Martin,
this one is just too much.
I have to intervene at this point. I'm sure you didn't mean to say that the president is willfully stealing. I think what you meant to say was that the president's family is benefiting from.
Yes, it's the same. Yes.
So that clarification has been made.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. There are some who say that part of the reason why the original Ku Me Preko was successful is because it was a coalition of opposition political parties. It was a political party platform. Do you think that if political parties had been involved in the reloaded version, you might have had more numbers?
Yes, that would have certainly contributed to get higher numbers. Yes.
So, are you going to consider that for the subsequent ones?
Okay, we can look at it. Yes. I was in an interview with Blessed Suga where he asked this question, that would I welcome the political parties? And I said yes. They are free to come. They just shouldn't bring party paraphernalia, those things, because this is a citizens' demonstration. Political party members are also citizens. Yes.
Finally, because I think our time is running out, there is the question of quantity versus quality. We know that a demonstration like Occupy Flagstaff House did not have large numbers. But because of the specific individuals involved, it seemed to have a lot of traction. You had people like Isan Kuma, Kenu Furiata, George Anda, people who were considered to be representative of that all-important, all-powerful middle class. Do you think that the Ku Me Preko Reloaded, mimicked that in any way?
Yes, I do. Do you see that, in actual fact, that day, you see Dr. Abu Sakara. He came. Yeah, Abu Sakara is quite a heavyweight in Ghanaian politics. Then Dr. Kwame Sapon-Isiedru, the CDD fellow, yes, he's one of the conveners. He's been there with me from day one, right? Dr. Okanse of UPSC. Yeah, and there were other lawyers. You see, there were lawyer Apao, okay, Jochi, Mohammed. There were over 10 lawyers there. Of course, I would admit that, yes, in terms of the gravitas, it's not quite the same. But there were quite a number of prominent people also there. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, what can you tell us about the plans for the subsequent demonstrations? Do you have any dates in mind?
Yeah, so not yet. We've not fixed date yet. We are still debriefing. We are doing the post-event analysis, and then we'll come out with the subsequent date.
All right. Martin Kpebu, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so, thoughts, Ray?
The early March protest in Sri Lanka was attended by a few people. In fact, it was not going to be successful. It was after the third one that things got out of hand. And finally, some of the things that they were demanding was not only removal of government, but also a new constitution. I saw some of the placards carrying similar messages. And this is Sri Lanka. Apart from that, one of the biggest they have done was in the 1911s. Very long time ago, making the impact. In fact, to some of the people who went for that protest, and they had pages where they were actually sharing the message, they wanted to mimic that. And they were basically laughed at for actually not doing anything close to the numbers that came out during that period. But the trick, which was the case, two things: continuity and the consistency with which they did this. And secondly, and it became a point where it was very difficult to pinpoint who were the real organizers even at the time. Then secondly, the response, if you like, call it intransigence of the then government, consistently dismissing the views and the issues that people were putting out there. I just hope that we will not do the same with the current protest that's beginning. Already, people are not excited in this country. I'm sure if state has intelligence, they will know. From being booed, no matter who you think it's going to be, it
to recent engagements, you cannot dismiss the fact that there's a lot of anger in people and they want to vent it one way or the other. Some will choose social media, others will be willing to walk on the streets. And yes, it's also true that active mobilization is required, and it's a lot of expensive thing. To get somebody to move from Adenta to, let's say, Circle to go and participate in this act involves a lot of expenditure. And the guy who is saying that he cannot actually raise enough money to feed himself that day may not be able to do it. I also heard, quite interestingly, some who spoke very good English, some who were actively on top of. It sounded almost to me like a tertiary education form of protest, where the people were quite on top of the issues that we were discussing. Protests are done in a democratic society to draw attention to things that are happening. The times are not so excellent for people not to be heard complaining about their circumstances. Dismissing it is terrible. It's a poor strategy. I just hope that, and luckily, I'm told that there was a conversation prior to that with the coalition. I just hope these conversations will continue. And that coalition has the likes of Professor Techua Menu being involved. So obviously, they has the brains to be able to advise government on the proper direction they should take with all of this. I just hope that we do not dismiss some of these things so that it gets out of hand. And we are now having to learn from history what has happened before.
Well, look, I think that what really matters is the message they've sent. Yes, you can actually have one person demonstrating and sending the right signal or the right message. And these were, individuals coming together to demonstrate. And in the past, a lot of the demonstrations we've had, which have attracted huge numbers, is always linked to a political party, even if they do not openly come out to say we are the ones organizing it. We've seen that in the past, the Arise Ghana demonstration was led by members of some executive even of the NDC. So that in itself would send a signal to them to get involved in it. And so I was always expecting low numbers, because this was not something that was backed by a political party, and so you're going to have low numbers. I think what's important is that the signal has been sent. They've communicated to the president what they want him to do, and they say they're going to go to other parts of the country. They've had the coverage. You had media houses covering it live, and the live coverage gave them the kind of appeal they would have wanted. So it was more like everybody getting involved to say, we're watching these persons making a demand on our behalf. For me, I think that they've sent a signal, and that's the most important thing.
They've sent a signal. I'm curious as to whether the signal has been received, by the recipients, the government. One thing we can't forget is that we're living in the year 2022. When was Ku Me Preko?
1995.
Social media did not exist.
Yeah.
There was no other way than to hit the streets. Today, people have alternatives of how to have their voices heard. That will certainly affect numbers. But the question is the signal being received? Does government understand what happened on Saturday? Now, the reason why this question is important is because this is the same government that called the 2020 election a resounding mandate. When they lost control of parliament, they still called it a resounding mandate. So there is a certain tone deafness. There's a history of tone deafness of this government when they sometimes don't quite get what is happening. I hope this is not one of those occasions. I hope on this occasion they read the writings on the wall. They don't do what Valerie Sawyer did when Occupy Flagstaff House happened, and she tweeted pictures of the crowd making jokes about how sparse the crowd looked, and laughed herself into opposition. I certainly hope that they don't repeat such mistakes. It's important for them to be a listening government. It's 9:10. We're going to take a break. When we come back, our friends stop by. But Mamavi will bow us out, right?
Oh, yes. Just wanted to say that when we come back, our friends from UPSA will be joining us. They have the UPSA Annual Leadership Lecture coming up, and I'm sure you've seen a poster somewhere with His Eminence Cardinal Peter Appiah texting on it. We'll talk about that right after this.
It's everywhere. The anticipation again. Media football season. Enjoy massive discount when you are talking